What are we going to see at EA Play?
Welcome
to Uplink.
Okay, it's a solo episode. It's just me in the studio, chatting. We're gonna talk about a couple things. I want to talk about EA Play, what we could expect to see there, especially on the Star Wars front, and then other things as well. And I also have an announcement to make for Uplink. We've got a few ones because I haven't actually mentioned this on the podcast, so it's gonna be pretty cool. First off, I want to announce the new show from Uplink, and it is called The Battlefield Show. If you guys are pumped about Battlefield 2042, like I am, and just want to tide yourself over, maybe you're getting a little bored of Battlefront. I know I'm not, but I am really excited to see what Battlefield 2042 is all about. So myself and a friend of the show, Sammy Boy, host a weekly Battlefield podcast called The Battlefield Show. Definitely go check it out, download it wherever you find podcasts, and if you would do so, please leave us a review. It helps us out a bunch. And if you enjoy this podcast, leave us a review too. It helps us out so much. It helps us attract new listeners and keep us trending on iTunes and Apple Podcast pages. So it helps us out a ton. Really appreciate it. And we've got a whole lot of stuff changing for the YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, definitely go check it out there. Doing IRL videos, talking a lot about Battlefield and just a lot of new content there as well. So if you enjoy Battlefield and are hopped up on Battlefield, definitely go check us out on YouTube. There's a lot of things changing. We did a lot of, we were doing daily content on the YouTube channel for quite some time, posting snippets from the podcast and the Battlefield stuff. We switched to a heavy focus on Battlefield, but it is not the only focus. So we post this podcast there as well with gameplay. And if you do enjoy that or just want a different way to listen to the podcast, you can definitely go check us out there. But changing the focus on Uplink. Uplink is becoming more of a brand focused on covering all different types of games, producing podcasts for those. We're starting with, obviously, this show is continuing. Don't worry. I know a great review. Speaking of reviews on the podcast, let me pull that up real quick. From Admiral Akbar 1983. Really appreciate your review. Helps us out a bunch, and really appreciate hearing all types of stuff and where you found the show and what you enjoy. And this one says, completing my Star Wars circle. I have a Star Wars collecting podcast, a Star Wars book /EU podcast, and a general Star Wars news podcast. This completes my podcasts. Found you on the Living Force. I hope you aren't leaving podcasting. Your 2 latest episodes have not entered my feed. Please help me, Sage. You're my only hope. We are not leaving the podcasting world. There was a time we were scheduling some interviews for the podcast, and they kind of fell through, sadly, but I took that opportunity to take a break, refocus, and change up what we're doing on the Uplink front. So Uplink is turning into a brand. This is going to become Star Wars Uplink, and then we have the Battlefield show. This show is going to be talking about Star Wars gaming, Star Wars fan films, short films, that kind of stuff. So we're broadening a little bit more. Once we get some more Star Wars news on the gaming front, that's obviously the main focus of this podcast, but we'll also be covering some of the other things in the Star Wars community because it's super fun. And if you're not supporting us on Patreon, we have a Patreon exclusive show called Uplink Plus. Then we go through the Star Wars movies. So we're alive and vibrant. It's just some of the scheduling just didn't work out for some podcast recording, and it just kind of messed things up. So yeah, we're not going anywhere. I love doing this podcast. It's so fun to talk about Star Wars gaming and the futures of everything. That's what we're going to be talking about today. One last thing, if you haven't watched the announcement video, that kind of on our YouTube channel, that kind of tells you exactly where we're going and kind of the history of the podcast. So I'm looking forward to the future. I'm excited about Battlefield. I'm excited about the future of Star Wars games. Eventually on the Star Wars game front. Please, come on, EA, give us something, please. But on that note, EA Play is coming soon. July 22nd is when we will see EA Play hit our TV screens, YouTube live streams, whatever you want to say. So, what is there to expect? Can we expect anything really? That is the question I want to talk about today. And my ultimate feeling on this is I'm not hopeful for anything Star Wars to be shown at EA Play. Not anything massively on the multiplayer front. I know a lot of people have been making videos or talking about this on the possibility of Battlefront 3. Now is not the time to announce a Battlefront 3. They're pushing heavy on the Battlefield 2042 bandwagon and pushing the marketing for that. So it's just not, if they announce, no matter, like, even if it's the coolest game ever, like if Battlefield 2042 is the coolest game ever, which we all hope it to be, but it, like, hands down, best game ever, best gameplay, best everything. If they announce a Battlefront 3, no one's going to pay attention to Battlefield because Battlefront is such a hype franchise. Everyone wants to see another Battlefield game and see what they can do now that they've learned from the lessons and the mistakes that they had with with Battlefront 2's launch. So I know everyone wants to see that, but we're not going to see that until I wouldn't expect an announcement until after the launch of Battlefield, maybe next year's EA Play. If that would be that would be wild if they announced next year at EA Play that they're going to be working on a Battlefront 3. That would be groundbreaking. Sammy and I were talking about this after we recorded an episode of the Battlefield show. We would remember the moment of them announcing a Battlefront 3 for the rest of our lives. Like, it's such a huge moment. So many people would be so hyped about it. But it's not really the time for it. Now, on that note, something that I don't expect to see, but obviously I hope to see, we're still in the time frame where it could make sense to announce the name or just say we're making a Jedi Fallen Order 2. Like, that's all we need. Like, literally, if they just have a black screen and slowly from that black screen fades up the text of Jedi Fallen Order and then the number 2 behind it. That's all I'll need, and I'll be happy. So this is, like, we've been talking about a Jedi Fallen Order 2 for so long. There's been leaks, rumors, everything. But that game is still not officially announced, which is wild to me to think about. That game is not officially announced yet. We're just all super hyped about it, and we know it's coming. We just don't know officially. We know that Respawn's working on a Star Wars game. They're still hiring for that Star Wars game. The rumor now is that it will be coming out it'll be coming out 2023, I think. Originally, it was going to be 2022, and I think through COVID and hiring issues that they found that they needed a little more time. And from the rumors, it says that they're looking at a 2022 release. Though, from some of the rumors before Squadrons came out, there were a few reputable leakers that were hearing stuff that Star Wars Squadrons would come out later than it actually did. I know some people were looking at a 2021 release, and I think Bespin Bulletin announced his sources on Twitter that said that it'll be coming out 2020. So that, I know for a while they were looking at a 2021 release date and ended up going to pushing it. I think they did cut some of the content that they originally had planned for a full $60 release game, and they intended to do that and just decided, EA said, hey, we need a Star Wars game this year. Squadrons, you're up. So that is the main level of what I could see happening on the Star Wars front for EA Play. Obviously, we're going to see some more Battlefield 2042, and if you want more details, be sure to check out the Battlefield show so you are up to date on all the things Battlefield. It's a good time. But we were talking about all things Battlefield on that specific show. We're going to see Battlefield. We're going to see more of the game mode that they haven't really announced, that previously Dice LA, now Ripple Effect are working on. And we're going to see some Apex for sure. We're going to see some Apex, and we're going to definitely see some Sims more than likely, and we're going to see some of the FIFA and the Madden, and I think the NCAA is back as well. All of the sports games that come out every year, they release like 15,000 of them every year, and though obviously those rake in money, people buy them year over year. It's something that people always go for. So it's fair that we're going to see some of that. At least saying, hey guys, look, you can see the sweat on the basketball players now. I think on that front, we're going to be pretty light on Star Wars news. And I don't expect to see, sadly, Ubisoft Star Wars game is still out by quite a bit. They just announced the title and that they're working on something. But honestly, EA, if you're listening, anybody in EA, if you're listening to this and you guys are in the position, you don't need to announce the specifics of the game. At this point, we are so starved for Star Wars content on the gaming front. You can just say, hey, we are dedicated to Star Wars video gaming as a franchise. Yes, the Star Wars license is no longer exclusive to our publisher, but we are still dedicated to offering incredible experiences within the sandbox of Star Wars. And over the next few years, we have 5, 4, 3... Let's just say, over the next 5 years, we're going to be bringing 3 Star Wars gaming experiences, and we look forward to sharing more details on that in the coming months and years. But could you imagine if they said that and how excited people would be? It would be so awesome to have that level of communication on the Star Wars gaming front from EA. Because at this point, yes, they've said that they are doubling down on Star Wars games, that they are dedicated to the franchise. We had some people at LucasFilm saying they've never been so excited about the future of Star Wars video games, and that it is likened to the golden era of Star Wars video games. But we've seen literally nothing. We just got an announcement that Ubisoft is working on a Star Wars game and the license is getting opened up beyond just EA. Like that's all that we've heard, and that was back in January. That was 6 months ago. We have gone 6 months without any hardcore or any solid news around the Star Wars gaming front. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing from fans. I know Sammy and I were talking about this after we recorded, and we were saying, hey, if we don't see anything Star Wars, like it's time to start tagging EA and being like, hey, yo, EA Star Wars, what the heck are you doing with the license? Like, you said you were doubling down on Star Wars, and we've yet to see anything on that front. We've seen other people start to double down on Star Wars game. Ubisoft is offering a look at Star Wars in a way that you never would be. And it's disappointing to see. Well, many people have issues with EA. I have issues with EA, more of how they handle the development teams internally than it is externally. I don't like how they say we're gonna release a game at this year, and if your game isn't gonna match up to be released on that year, well, too bad. Your game's getting canceled, and if you can't really step it up, we're gonna cancel your studio too. Like that's the reality of EA. Like that's been it for a few years, and it seems like they're changing things internally, but it's a slow moving thing, and that is still an integral part of EA right now. Like you see that with Squadrons. Squadrons was a perfect game for support, but they hobbled it. They cut off its legs and made it walk for as long as it did. If there was a way to support the game through cosmetics, which there was, like they could have easily done that, but because of the launch of Battlefront and the whole loot bot controversy, they felt like they couldn't really offer that, and that's super sad to me. So I know a lot of people have issues. I have issues with EA. But overall, the games that they produced with the license that they had was incredible. I love the games that they offered. Battlefront 2015 is hands down one of my favorite games of all time. Battlefront 2 is so freaking fun. Jedi Fallen Order is one of the best single-player experiences in the medium, period. Like, it was the reason, like, it was the spark that lit the fire of single-player games, showing that there is a viability for single-player games from EA even. EA, one of the game publishers that has stepped farthest away from single-player games as they could, and they offered that, and they surpassed expectations. It sold super well. It sold so well that they're going back and offering a next-gen console upgrade. And like, that wouldn't be a thing if it sold poorly. So it's really exciting to me to see the offerings of EA. Like, they have some solid games. They've all been gorgeous. Squadrons is incredibly pretty, and the gameplay and the community around that game is so strong and so vibrant, and has sprouted out a wonderful, wonderful esports scene. Which, who would have thought? Like, no one would have thought that Star Wars would have an esport. Like, what? What is this? What world are we living in? So I'm really excited to see the future. I just hope that we see something, some small details, just anything really. We need the slightest announcements of them rededicating or showing the dedication and showing the comments around the doubling down. Because we've seen none of that. We have seen absolutely zero, zip, zilch, bubkus. Nothing has been around the idea of future Star Wars games, which is super sad because it's such a vibrant offering. Like, the types of experiences in Star Wars is so fascinating and so unique and fits so well for video games. You are immersed. I was on stream every Saturday, usually at 12 p.m. MST, but I hopped on a little bit earlier yesterday, and someone suggested, which I had forgotten about, a Darth Maul game. They were working on a Darth Maul game before the acquisition. And, like, could you imagine playing as Darth Maul, exploring the deep lore of Darth Maul, and getting some of his either beginnings or expanding through the time frame of the Clone Wars, or with him with the spider legs? Like, it would have been super cool to see what his character would look like with a video game. And it would offer so many different unique experiences and a unique storytelling experience, because you would become Darth Maul. I suggested this on the stream. I would love to see the continuation of Solo in video game form, because it doesn't look like they're going to be continuing that story, at least in the movies. And obviously you can go through and write a book or a comic, but so few people actually experience those stories. And I think that is a story that needs to be to the widest audience possible. Darth Maul is one of the most fan favorite characters in Star Wars. A character that got very, very little screen time and was brought back, and it was explained that they were not dead, but they got spider legs. Like, the strength of his character and the strength of his story is something that people want to see, and opening up to the widest amount of people possible through, we talked about this with Alex from Star Wars Explained last episode, that it's a funnel. So Star Wars movies is the funnel. Most people only watch the movies, and then the second tier would be the live action shows on Disney Plus, and then beyond that would be either the animations or the video games. So I think those are pretty tied together. The amount of people watching the animations and playing the video games are usually the same amount of people. So exploring that story in a video game front would widen the opportunities for people to experience it much more than normal. So ultimately, on the EA Play front, I'm not expecting a whole lot on the Star Wars side of things. Obviously, would I love to see some Star Wars content from EA Play? Yes, definitely. Who wouldn't want to see it? Like, just tell me what the heck's going on. Do I expect to see it? Not really. The thing that I could see them doing would be announcing Jedi Fallen Order 2. And another thing that I didn't mention earlier, but BioWare and the Star Wars, the Old Republic team, SWTOR, have said that they will not be at EA Play, but they have announcements later on. And like that, I was talking about this on stream. I love that. I love that they said, hey guys, we're communicating to you as the fans. We are the development team. Yo, we're not going to be at EA Play. Don't get your hopes up. We've got some things planned for the 10th anniversary later this year. But hey, we're dedicated, but we don't have anything to share at this moment. We're not going to be here. So don't get your hopes up. Like that, like, oh my gosh. Dude, could you imagine if EA Star Wars just, like, we're all so hyped around the fact that there may be Star Wars content. And if there is none, we're going to be so disappointed. But if they just said, hey, EA Star Wars, we're not going to be showcasing anything at EA Play this year, but we are dedicated to the Star Wars brand and exploring different experiences in that world. Just, we don't have anything to announce at this point. Obviously, we're going to be super disappointed, but they communicated. Like, that is the main thing. Just tell us if you're not going to be there. Don't let us get our hopes up. It's going to be a worse situation for everyone, for EA Star Wars, if they say nothing and they're not there. They don't have to say that they will be there, but if they're not going to be there, just tell us. Don't get our hopes up. Because right now, the Star Wars community for gaming is very distrustful of EA. We haven't seen a whole lot of good track record from them with continuing the games that they make or offering those experiences. We haven't seen a whole lot of goodwill on that front. They had a huge controversy with Battlefront 2. Well, ultimately, they came out ahead and made an incredible game. For many people, that ruined them from any viewpoints of watching or experiencing any EA games. And they have to work super, super hard to make it back. So ultimately, will we expect to see anything? I don't expect to see anything, but will I love to see some? Yes. Let me know either through email or on Twitter. You can contact us, contact@uplinkpodcast.com, on Twitter @uplinkpodcast. I would love to hear your thoughts on what we could see from an EA Play. Is there anything that you're really excited for? Are you excited for Battlefield? Is that something that's going to tie you over until the next Star Wars game? Or are you just playing Battlefront as well? Let me know down either if you're watching this on YouTube down below in the comments, or if you are listening to this on the podcast apps of your choice, let me know either through Twitter, Instagram, or through email. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you do have ideas for this podcast or have some cool person you'd love to be on the podcast, let me know in an email or on Twitter as well. Would love to hear that. Would love to offer that to you as well. You can find the show on Twitter @UplinkPodcast or on Instagram @UplinkPodcast. And you can contact us, contact@uplinkpodcast.com. Please let us know your thoughts. If you liked this content, please leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. It helps us out so, so much. And if you would like to see more content from Uplink on either Star Wars or Battlefield, follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/uplinkpodcast. We offer all kinds of stuff on our YouTube channel, so definitely stay in touch there. When we get to 1,100 subscribers, we're so close. We're 47 away. I'll do a live stream, non-stop Fallen Order. Play through it in one stream. So when we get to that point, we will soon. With your help, definitely. We'll be doing that. So would love to hear your thoughts. You can listen to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find podcasts, you can find this show. As always, may the Force be with you. Thanks for listening.